So we're back. Today's episode is going to be about dating, primarily what relationships are like nowadays, the complexities that we all face, maybe some of the beauties that we all face with them. I think dating now has just become impossible. I think it's an impossible topic, an impossible task. I think it's become work. I think it's taken all the play out of it. It's not that I have a skewed perception of what dating is, because I love love. Like, I love love. Like, love makes me happy. I just think it's getting harder and harder and more difficult to find as time goes on. I think that people are struggling to find love, not only within themselves, which then translates to them trying to find it even more difficult to find it with a partner. And I think we're just struggling. We're struggling as a whole.
We are. Wait. Okay, I'm going to start with something crazy, because while you were talking, this just popped into my head and I have to run with it. I think the rationale behind dating and social media just makes everything so much more complex. For example, so a lot of the times, and I think the situations that women present to me or the frustrations are, if they're talking to a man, right, or you two are now exclusive, and then your man is in another girl's likes.
Oh my God.
I personally, and I'm just going to say it for what it is, think that that's disrespectful. I think
we're starting with this right away.
No, because this is something that I feel like in this society, everyone has been primed to be disposable and accessible.
I agree with that.
So when you are in something committed, or you're with someone that you are trying to share a life with, to me, liking a girl's half-naked picture on Instagram, that's not just, you know, him having like imagination play. Like, that's actually...
yes,
you're hot.
I get it.
I'm liking it because you're hot.
Let me ask one question.
And to me, I just feel like that is extremely disrespectful. And I don't really feel like there's an argument around it. And this is the problem with men, because women will bring it up. And like, I know you're about to defend it.
Oh, see, that's where you're wrong. I was not defending.
Okay.
I was not defending.
Okay, fine.
I was going to
I'm
say...
just used to that.
Don't compare me.
Not used to it in my personal life, just used to hearing it.
I absolutely agree with you. So I just want to preface everything I'm about to say with that. Yeah, no, I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Before I even get into that, what I don't like is when people are completely single, right? So let's say, which I am completely 100% single, and then I start talking to somebody, and it's, how come you're liking all these other people's pictures? Like, that's before you. I'm out here trying to find love. Okay, so like, what I do before you step into the picture doesn't pertain nor concern you in any way, shape, or form. What I do when we are actually like in a communicative state and we're sharing interest in one another, then it concerns you. But here's my question, right? So you take that guy who, again, I don't agree with, that does this, that goes off and starts liking all these half-naked girls on Instagram. Is his girl posting the same stuff that he's out there liking?
No.
False.
Also, I want to add to this.
False.
So what you were saying in relation to, and I think this is going to be super important to touch on, when is the right time to bug out on someone, or not even bug out, to express that you're uncomfortable with them doing certain things while you're on speaking terms? So I find a lot of the times, and I know we've talked about this, you struggle with this a lot. You'll see a girl for the first time and they immediately claim you or think that now you're dating. And this is a very big problem in our society, where a girl or a man expects so much so soon. No one goes with the flow. No one tries to like feel people out. And dating is supposed to be something that's fun. And I'm not saying you're supposed to be sexually engaging with multiple people, but it's okay to be talking to a few other people casually. And
is sex part of dating?
I mean, I think it depends on your belief. Some people would say yes, some people would say no.
So what I think a lot of what the issue is people have sex, and more often than not, and I'm not finger pointing at the woman, that will immediately justify, okay, now we're a locked item. I don't agree with, listen, anymore in my life, I don't agree with going around and just sleeping around with random people. But Ian,
what? How long should a man or woman wait until they have that conversation? But that's the thing.
I think it's all based on an individual basis. So again, I think it has to happen organically. And I'm somebody where if I'm going to be dating somebody, and let's say I hang out with somebody 1, 2, 3 times, if I make it past the 3rd time seeing somebody, which is a lot for me, okay, then I will wind up trying to have certain types of conversations when we're communicating, and I will start planting seeds of different, and I'll ask questions. And that's what I just like to do. I simply just like to ask questions, and I like to prod and poke certain little things and have different types of conversations just to see where her head's at. And then that way it allows me to start expressing my feelings and where I come. I'm not going to sit somebody down and be like, this is what I expect. This is what I demand.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
Okay? The problem that I see is when you are starting to talk to somebody, going back to your original point, I don't know when the right time is, but this whole claiming somebody right away because of this unhealthy level of codependency and ownership, that's part of the issue. And it's not just women that do it. I think it's more often than not women, okay? But I do think that men do it to a very high degree also, because I think men nowadays are having it a harder time to meet somebody because of the level of accessibility that's out there. So when somebody actually allows them into that sexual presence, they're going to hold on to that.
I want to touch on something else too, because it just came to my mind. It's so imperative to be like in tune with yourself and your emotions, because a lot of the times, and it's very important, I know there's no timeline on when you should start dating someone, but it's very important that you move past that lustful phase, because a lot of the times I see people will jump into relationships after 2 weeks, a month and a half. You do not know someone after a month.
Why are you posting somebody on Instagram after 3 weeks, by the way?
Yeah.
Why are you doing that?
That is your lust talking. That is infatuation. That is not real love. You don't know the person. You don't know their morals. You don't know their heart. You know the mask. And everyone is going to be on their best behavior for at least a month and a half, 2 months, 3 months. I'm a huge advocate of even waiting like the 4 seasons, which people find crazy.
I don't think that's crazy at all.
But it's not. And there's such a rush to get a title before people really know one another. And I don't understand it, because this is when you end up in situations where you're not compatible. You realize you don't have the same interests. And the only reason why you locked in that relationship was because of the chase and because of the infatuation. It had nothing to do with compatibility.
But you're asking, why are people doing it, right? So again, I'm not a relationship therapist.
No, I'm not saying why. I'm saying they shouldn't be,
but you're
doing
like, why are people doing that? I think that we are in a constant state of comparison with everybody else. So again, we go on social media, we see all these other people in relationships being taken away, going on vacations, doing this, doing that. I know, based off of a lot of women that I have spoken to now, especially with a lot of the coaching I've been doing, they're always comparing themselves to, friend X, friend Y, friend Z. And then now the man feels some type of obligation to step up and afford that level of comfort, afford that level of ability for them, and then they wind up drowning themselves trying to do it. So both of them are rushing for very different reasons. Men want to be able to feel validated. They want to be able to feel wanted and important, and they also want to be able to keep up with their peers, because I'm on social media. I see all these people flexing, having money, going here, going there, spending a month in Tulum, doing this, doing that. I don't care, but for the average person that's not healed, he cares. He wants to be able to provide that lifestyle for somebody who is also out here looking at that, wanting that. So I think that's why people rush in so quick, that constant state of comparison to everybody else. Oh, I need to give this to her before somebody else does.
Yes, and I just do think it's just you get caught up in like the lustfulness of it all, and you get caught up in, really being immersed in a person and thinking with kind of, that butterfly effect, as opposed to like logically in your mind, and not saying, oh, okay, I'm with a guy and he stated he doesn't want kids, but I want kids, but oh my God, he's so hot. Like, I'm just going to keep going with it. And then you find 2 years down the line, now they're having fights all the time because he doesn't want a family, but she does. These things you see all the time. The red flags or the incompatibility was there from the jump. You just chose to have rose-colored glasses on. Another thing. A lot of people look at social media.
Can I touch on that for 1 second?
Well, I want to bounce off what you said.
I'm going to forget. I'm going to forget what I'm going to say. And maybe it's a little off topic, but it goes right on that rose-colored glasses thing. We put up a video last week where I was called toxic masculinity, okay, all over social media, okay? Yeah, I was. And I'm not. The problem is, and I say this for men and women, if you go into a relationship wearing those rose-colored glasses, we all have intuition. We all have a gut feeling as soon as something triggers our gut to know, okay, this rubbed me the wrong way. This is a red flag, but we just want to see green flags. And we fall too much for what our idea and our perception is and desire of what we want the person to be rather than what they're showing us. So if you are one of those people wearing these rose-colored glasses and you know it and you're ignoring your intuition and you get hurt, you deserve it. Move. Back
And
to
you can't fall in love with expectations. You can't fall in love with hope. You have to fall in love with reality and what the person is doing in that moment, where their lifestyle is at, what they believe in, their morals. And, you know, just because they have all of these fantastic plans, that's amazing. And I hope that they, you know, excel in them. However, you cannot fall in love with that idea and that fantasy. We have to kind of take a step back and look at reality. What I was going to say before is, our society is so messed up when it comes to comparison with relationships. And I'm just going to give a little personal, you know, tidbit. Not going to go into details, but for anyone who cares. A lot of these relationships you see posted on social media, if you're single or, you know, you're feeling alone, yes, the normal reaction is going to be, you know, feeling envious or jealous or wanting that love or missing it.
That's a normal reaction from somebody who's not healed, though.
But
I'm sorry.
No, even if you are healed, I think it's normal to miss someone. You know, you can miss
connection, but being envious, being envious and jealous, you're unhealed.
Okay, so you're unhealed. Regardless, where I'm going with that is,
I'm listening.
If you are looking on social media and comparing two couples, you need to understand that social media is not what meets the eye. I know a lot of couples behind closed doors that are absolutely toxic and probably the worst two people to be with one another and are very uncompatible. And they do not get along at all. However, on social media, it looks like rainbows and butterflies, but it is not like that at all. So be very careful with what you fantasize and who you look up to in relation to, whether it be, you know, iconic couples and very well-known ones, or people within your, you know, social media friends world. Because a lot of the times I find that people will be jealous of others and they don't really know the true story or what they've been through. And, you know, that's another problem as well.
Were you the one that was jealous looking around?
No. No, I've never looked at a relationship and been like, oh, wish that was me.
That's the thing.
I see a lot of it though. Like because a lot of the couples that I see post, I was just out with them last Saturday and they were screaming, cursing at each other. And I look at myself and I'm like, how is that?
And I would assume it's the next day. Then they put a post up together on the story.
Or there's people who cheat that don't even know, and everyone else knows about their girlfriend, and like, which is also awful and humiliating. And just, I really feel for those women who have that, you know what I mean? Or men, it could go either way. And a lot of times with cheating as well with relationships, I think what's so awful about it is everyone knows.
Do you think women or men cheat more?
I think it's a mix.
Do you? Okay.
It is. So you cannot genderify cheating.
But hold on. What do you consider cheating?
Like having intercourse.
Okay, so.
And I would say just anything sexual, but also there's emotional cheating. So.
What about micro cheating?
What? Like as in just kind of flirtatious?
Forget the flirtatious. Listen, flirtation can be, it's such a broad word because what I could just be being myself could be deemed as flirtation. Like I'm just very animated. If I'm talking to somebody, I'll like touch the arm. Like it's not me flirting. Yeah, it's not me flirting. It's just me
until it is.
Until it is. Okay. Now,
it is.
What I've noticed, and again, just opinion, not fact, is that I think a lot of women do a lot of micro cheating. And this is where the social media comes into play.
So do men. I'm
not saying men don't. I am just saying from a personal opinion, okay, I feel that it is easier for women to micro cheat. How? I will explain. If somebody's in a relationship, and you know what, like there's so many things I want to say about this because it goes into how, oh, this guy's controlling and this and that, and I'll get into that, but you're in a fight with your girl. Well, I'm in a fight with my girl, hypothetically, right? And how many times do you notice when a couple is at odd ends with one another, what does the girl do? she'll upload a provocative picture. I'm not saying everybody will.
That is not
I'm
all the time.
Oh my
No.
God. Oh yes. Okay.
If they're in a toxic relationship,
which I'm not saying that all couples are toxic. I am saying from what the masses that I see, okay, the masses, and there are a few people I know that are happily married, great wives, great mothers, God bless. What I'm saying is, in a opinion is that if there is an argument or they're at odd ends with one another, woman will post a photo for attention. I have noticed this one too many times, which I'm not saying she's doing anything wrong, okay? But you are looking for the attention, not to mention the amount of likes, and then it's the messages. When somebody is doing that and then responding to the messages inside, that is what I consider micro cheating. You know damn right what you're doing. Because in my opinion, and again, opinion, I feel that all women, and this is going to sound terrible, I feel that all women, and I will look at the camera, which one's mine, and say this, all women have a backup plan. All women have a backup plan. You can say this is toxic masculinity as much as you want. The amount of available options that women have nowadays, you can't tell me that a woman, okay, is not already, she doesn't already know who's next in the lineup when something fails. Impossible. I'm sorry. I'll take that to my grave, okay? I disagree with you. And again, I'm not saying that to be, deemed as like a toxic man. It's what I've noticed. I've seen women in 6-year relationships wind up going with the guy that the other guy knew, I'm not liking that dude, and then she's winding up hooking up with that guy. How many times does that happen? Almost all the time.
But you could say that about a man with a woman.
I'm not saying it's not, but I'm saying that it's more accessible for women, okay? It is easier for women to do that because the thing is it's
easier for women to get men than it is for men to get women. Because women are almost lured in the appropriate way, and I'm saying that. I'm not saying lured in like they're manipulated. I'm saying they get approached. The men are the ones who have to do the work and the back end to it. Women, all they have to do is accept it. Like say, I'll go on a date with you and whatnot. They don't have to pursue. So I definitely agree with you that women have it easier and in relation to getting partners and finding options because they're the ones who are constantly pursued. Whereas men actually have to, DM the girl or go up to them at a bar or send the first text, So I agree with that. However, if you are in a relationship with a man or woman, and I'm sorry, if you two are fighting and then your girl or your man uploads a photo right after, that just shows like the insecurity and that you're clearly, for some strange reason, not secure in your own relationship. Because why are you posting for
somebody
validation or attention or to even get your man mad or to get your girl mad? To me, that's so immature, and that just shows that maybe you should not be in a relationship because that's like a get back.
So do you agree then, because I have my feelings on this, do you agree that in a relationship that a woman should be going out dressing beyond provocatively, okay? And I'm talking, and you know exactly what I'm saying about provocative. Like, listen, if you're single and you want to, project that image in a certain way of being promiscuous and provocative and you want to look good and you have no one that you're going home to, all the power and kudos to you, fine. But when you're married or you're with somebody, do you think it's acceptable for a woman to go out and dress in, pasties with her boobs flapping in the wind and like nothing else on except a tube top as a pencil skirt? Yes or no? And it's a simple yes or no. This is not a long drawn out explanation. Is that acceptable as the man?
Yes.
You're out of your bird, dude. And here's the thing. And this is the problem, okay? because I know a lot of women are going to be listening to this being like, oh, he's this, he's controlling. No.
You're insecure.
Yeah, you're insecure. And that's exactly what I was going to say. I am the most secure human being you will ever meet. If anything, I think any man who establishes guidelines and ground rules that are going to be respectful towards himself, and how that woman who's going out in public is a reflection on his image as a man, your purpose when we are together, not your sole purpose, but your purpose when we are in a unified relationship, you are a reflection on me. You build me up. Okay, you add value and status to me by the way that you project yourself in public. So if you're going out dressing like a $2 hooker on the street, now that's how I look. So as a man who puts his boundaries up and says, no, you're not wearing that out. Your body is accessible to me and only me. Your part of the skin, that level amount is for my eyes only. Different than wearing a bathing suit. So don't even think about comparing that if you were thinking about it. Okay? No. So any man who sets his boundaries to be like, you know what? This doesn't jive with my worth, my value. I'm not okay with somebody wanting to go out because why does somebody dress like that? Tell me.
Well, some girls just feel confident in
Negative,
their body and want to show it off.
Right. And that's what are you showing off for when you have somebody?
But I don't feel like showing off necessarily has to be for, to get like a male attraction.
So who's it for?
But why can't you just feel good in your own skin and feel comfortable and want to wear that?
I can feel good in my own skin.
Okay,
but
this
I don't
is the
need
thing. I think that there's a boundary. I think that this is a discussion amongst the couple that some men do feel okay with their women wearing more scandalous outfits, and that's totally fine. It really is just how that them both feel about it. So if the man is okay with his woman going out like that, then she can go out like that. However, if he feels uncomfortable, if he feels uncomfortable with it, that needs to be a conversation, and it needs to be, hey, listen, I don't really love that you're going out half naked. Is there something where we can meet in the middle where you could still, show off your figure or dress however you would like, but be a little bit more covered up?
Okay.
I don't think that there's anything wrong with that.
Okay. And again, difference of opinions.
What about not half naked? What about just something more revealing? Let's talk realistic, because not many girls are going out with PCs and, all of that.
Stop.
I'm saying, what about, so I'm thinking of like how I dress,
I go to Kima on a Thursday night, okay? What do you see there?
I mean, some mini dresses. I haven't been to Kima.
I'm just saying in general, you know exactly how people dress when they go out there. Just saying. Okay.
But I'm saying, how I dress. Like, you see me outside of, like,
You wear corduroy pants and a friggin' cardigan, dude. Like, I've seen you outside.
No, but when I go out, yeah, but I'm definitely more revealing. But to
there's
me,
a point of revealing. There's a point of being revealing, and then there's a point of being intentionally provocative and promiscuous. The man, and again, opinion, the man that allows his woman to be intentionally provocative and promiscuous is a simp. Okay? He doesn't respect himself. He doesn't value himself as a man because, again, I'm very big believer in the divine roles, a divine masculine role and a divine feminine role. You pick up where I lack, I pick up where you lack. You and I are both a reflection on one another. If you are going to reflect me in a negative way and I allow that, then I have a negative reflection in myself. That's how I view that. I'm sorry. Like, I know that's not for everybody to agree with, and I understand how to an unhealed mind that could be, oh, he's controlling, he's insecure. Negative. I value myself as a man to know how I want the image when I'm in public or when I'm in private to look, and that's just not it.
And if you are that type of person, then don't go for provocative girls or girls that are going to be scandalous.
I agree with you.
Go for a very, a girl who's reserved and doesn't dress that way.
So let's say that I do have that conversation, right?
Yeah.
Let's say I approach and I'm like, listen, sweetheart, this just isn't working for me. I would prefer A, B, and C. I would like you and I to meet in the middle. Nowadays, women, okay? Not you.
You're controlling.
Exactly. That's the problem. That's the main problem because, and we were just talking about this before the podcast, this all comes down to what women say they want. Women always say, I want an emotionally intelligent man. I want a man who's masculine, divine masculine. No, you don't. Because you only want that when it's convenient, not saying for you, but for you at the end of the day. My masculinity and me being able to be emotionally intelligent is only convenient when it serves you and the needs that you want. When you ask for an emotionally intelligent man before you start calling him controlling, you have to understand that you're asking for someone who's grounded and honest and also vulnerable and regulates his emotions. And on top of that, has to regulate your emotions. And if you're a woman who's comfortable in victimhood, can't handle criticism, can't handle rejection, can't handle having your perception being told the opposite, then you're not ready for an emotionally intelligent man.
100%.
And that man is going to choose his peace any day over you. Any day. So if you ask for something and now I'm giving you exactly what you're asking for by being emotionally intelligent, I will open that door and let you out as quickly as I let you in. How to say it. Sorry.
Well, what I was going to get into is how do you feel about then your girl going out without you? Like what do you feel is the level of being inappropriate in a relationship going out?
It's great. I have very mixed feelings on this because I don't go out.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying?
So
Are you asking
as a girl,
are you asking my personal opinion?
Yeah, if you had a girl, I'm saying because you aren't someone who really goes out.
I don't go out at all. So
if your girl likes to go out.
It's a phenomenal question because I'm a homebody. I'm a hermit crab. I'm home 7 nights a week with my dog, and like that's my happy place. I draw, I write poetry, I read, I write. Like that's where I'm at home.
That's what he likes, ladies.
It is.
Hit him up.
So that's what I like to do. Now, I know that that's not for everybody. I could be comfortable on my couch with my dog watching a movie, and that is a perfect night for me. Most people in general like to go out. Go. Where is
Bars
where that
and
discrepancy
clubs.
is. Like, I don't think... For example, birthdays and stuff. If your girls want to get a table and go to a club and do this and do that, it's my job as your man to just trust you. Because either way, you're going to hurt me regardless. If you're going to be that person, one, I'm going to find out. So you can only live with that secret for so long. I'm going to find out. So go. Do I want you doing it every week, every night? Absolutely not. No. But for you to do it, you want to go get dinner with your girls every week. I think you should do that. Yeah. I think a girl and a man should be able to go out every week, once, twice a week with their boys because female time and quality male time is so important.
Yeah.
Go, have fun, do that. As for the clubs and the bars, moderation. Again, I don't do that. I don't drink. I don't like being in big crowds. So that's just a personal preference for me.
I want to piggyback off that because I think that it's something good to touch on. It is imperative to understand that you are your own individual person in a relationship. And a lot of the times I find, I think your answer is perfect because I think in moderation with everything is the best balance. You should have alone time with your girls. Your man should have alone time with his men. You both should be doing things separately and having fun with the people you love outside of one another. And you should be doing things together and, building hobbies and activities. It should be something that is done together and separately. However, what I find all the time is like these men or women try to control and take ownership of their partner as opposed to understand that you two are together because you're independent people and you love one another. You're not together to control one another. So there's no reason why if your man or your girl wants to go out, you are fighting with them the whole entire time. There's no reason why if your man wants to, go play football or golf with his boys or go watch football on a Sunday that there should be a problem. And I find I
see that too often.
Girls specifically more than men are constantly getting frustrated that men don't give them enough time. However, you need to understand that you are not their entire world. They have family, they have friends, they have work. Sometimes they want to just do men stuff. Sometimes girls want to just do girl stuff. So do not be that controlling person because I will tell you firsthand, being with someone who was controlling was probably the worst thing in a relationship that I could have ever been through. And it was something that tore me apart from someone and made me so resentful and made me honestly, truly feel like I was dating like a very annoying human being. And I hate to say it like that, but you're at this point badgering someone.
And that's the thing.
And it's not fun anymore.
No, and it's also...
To walk on eggshells with someone, and I'm sorry to just cut you off, to walk on eggshells with someone and to be that person where your partner feels uncomfortable to even talk to you about things because you're constantly skewing in the negative or you're constantly going to be annoyed or you can't just go with the flow. That's annoying.
Yeah.
No one wants that.
And I'm sorry. No, let me piggyback off that, right? Because I also think that whole walking on eggshells thing, I don't know, this just triggered something, but I also want to go back into what you just said super quick. Men in particular also like to be alone.
Yes.
We thrive in our own presence so greatly. And I think there's a lot of women that don't understand the importance of a man having quality time to himself. Now, granted, again, I'm weird. I do it a little bit more often than most. So the way that I view this, not 100% correct, but just in general, if you're dating somebody, that man, he needs time by himself. That doesn't mean, oh, let me come over and just lay on the bed and sit on my phone. Like, no, let that man have his night alone. Let him detach from his phone. I don't play video games, whack. But if your man likes video games, let him have his night to play video games.
Let him be him.
Let him be him, because once you take his identity away from him and you try to make him what your identity wants him to be, then he's going to resent you. And that goes, again, for both sides. That goes for both sides.
Yes, it is both.
Going off what you said with the eggshells, like, I remember when I was with somebody, she wanted me to be soft and vulnerable. And this was when I was starting to, like, really find that nurturing side of me, that, like, that fatherly archetypical nature. And I remember when I was becoming soft, it was a problem. So, like, what women also don't understand, when you ask for a man to be vulnerable, you ask him to be soft. And I got to be out here all day and put on this persona in public that I have to be hard. When I come home, I want to let that guard down. If I can't be soft with the woman that I'm with, who can I be soft with? If I got to come home and walk on eggshells and I got to worry about fighting and arguing with you, the whole point of a relationship is for me to have empathy for you and for you for me. And I have to have softness in myself to recognize that in you. That's the whole point. I have to be soft in order to relate to you and give you the things that you want when you need them. Women are naturally softer than men. So you want me to be a certain way. If you're hurt or you're in pain, how can I meet you at that level if I can't bring myself down to that level? You know what I'm saying?
And I think that goes back to show, like, that whole, perspective taking of social media and all of this, where a lot of women want that, like, bad guy, right? So the second that they're with a guy, and at first it's all, lustful and they're in love and they're infatuated, but then, the wall comes down and it's the vulnerability. Now they're like, wait, this isn't really a chase anymore. Like, now I want that bad guy who wants nothing to do with me and is dismissive, because, grass is always greener on the other side.
Trauma
for people
response.
who are not healed. And unfortunately, you're always going to be chasing that immediate honeymoon phase. And I find a lot of people are in that too, when they don't know what real love feels like. It's like the honeymoon phase is done. It now feels normal and healthy, but to them it's boring and it's not working and they don't like them anymore. But that's not the case. You have to keep dating your partner even after that honeymoon phase and do things independently. And I think that the relationships I know that have flourished and that are truly in love and, like, secure in love and not, like, toxic are the ones who have grown independently and have grown together. They have their own interests. They have their own friends. They do things separately while also their friends and them all do things together. So it's like they come together and then they come apart. They are a partnership. They are not an ownership. And I will say this again. It is not fun dating someone who is controlling. I do not care how hot you are. You could be the hottest person on this planet. And I'm sorry, the second that you're going to tell me where to go, who to be with, and what to do, and annoy me if I'm out, I am not talking to you. And that just goes to, I'm attracted more to a personality at this point than I am to a look, because I can't be with a person who can be a 10, on paper, but then behind closed doors, it's just like a headache. No one wants to be with a headache. Do not be the headache. Do not be annoying.
Have you ever been in love?
I
I don't know why that question just came into my head.
I know. You always catch me super off guard here. No, I think I've been in love with perceptions of people. I think I've been in love with the chase. I think I've been in love with desires that I had that I thought other people could fulfill. And I was quite literally the person who would chase after people in that lustful stage and think that they were the one for me, only to find out that we are not compatible in any way. And I had a lot of, like, internal work to do. So no, I don't think that I was ever, like, truly in love. I think that I was lustful. I think that I loved people.
Do you think where you're at now, because of the journey that you've been on, that when you meet somebody, you'll be able to fully, delve into the pits of loving them now?
I think my last situation really opened the door. And pause. This is why I say to people all the time, and I tell my friends and I tell everyone, do not regret the time that you've spent with others, because it really is a growing opportunity and an experience for you to open up your heart in many different ways that you never could have imagined.
100%.
You grow
100%.
as a person in ways that I can't even explain. And it takes, the trials and tribulations of being with people to be able to really come to terms with yourself and who you are and how you love and what you want. And the more, I'm not saying the more the merrier, but the more situations you have that don't work out bring you closer to what you really do enjoy. So I think that my last situation was kind of like, I was like teetering on kind of knowing where I'm at in terms of like how I love and what I want. And that opened the door for me to really be able to like tap into my feminine self and see who I really am when I am giving so much love and when I'm compassionate and empathetic. And it really made me feel amazing. And I say to this day, like, I really thank that person, not because of the love he showed me, but the love that he showed that I could give.
Yeah, 100%.
And after him, I really started to think about the connection and who I really see myself with, because I always thought that I wanted to be with this like super alpha guy who, really was like took control and all of that. But now that I really understand myself more, I don't think that is someone I'm attracted to. I'm definitely more attracted to like the patience, to the kindness, to being understanding, to the emotional intelligence over all of that, because I would just butt heads.
Yo, soft men,
they're so cute.
they're the best men.
They're
like soft, and I don't mean like weak men, because there's a difference between being weak. Like Jordan Peterson talks about this all the time. There's no virtue in being weak. Yeah. Like there's virtue in being strong and dangerous and being soft. Soft men, especially, and the ones that I associate with, like my main core group of guys, there's 3 guys, and none of them associate with one another. They're all soft. And like those are the type of men that I think make the absolute most the patient male who's understanding, but is also, again, going to have his boundaries and be able to relay his respectful, what he's looking for out of his partner. Those type of men in today's society, first of all, I think they're so few and far in between.
It's so rare.
It's so few and far in between.
Yeah.
It's so hard for those men to find women of equal caliber and of value. And I'm not saying that women are not of equal status to them, but you have most men like that, and this is going to sound so arrogant, so I'm not trying to, they're home with their dogs, like doing nothing half the time. Like they're away from the public eye. It's hard for them to meet people. It's hard for them to go out and find that love that they want, that they know that they can give. And the fact that I think women who are healing like yourself, that have come to this realization and they desire that over the car, the alpha mentality, the nice vacations, the this, the that. That, to me, I think is probably the biggest growth anyone could go through. That's phenomenal.
I went through a lot of growth, and honestly, and I was thinking about it the other day, because, normally you find a lot of people will fall in love with more of the lifestyle of what someone can offer as opposed to the actual person, or the excitement of, the activities they're doing together, or the people that they're around, whatever the case may be. However, when you could fall in love with a person when they're not at, their peak, or when they're just regular and they don't have anything to offer, in terms of materialistic things or on that superficial level, that's when it's like real and authentic and raw. It's not lust at this point. It's you genuinely love that person for them and not what they could offer you. And I think that relationships really blossom and become beautiful when it starts out that way.
Relationships they've seemed to become more transactional now rather than
I was gonna say it's such pressure.
You like that?
I love that
like
because
that?
this whole like sugar daddy error and this whole my man needs to be making six figures and you know if he's not 6'2", blue eyes, blonde hair.
By the way, I did see a statistic the other day, not to cut you off, but short dudes are like the new wave in 2024 and 2025. I'm not playing, dude. There was like I'm not
We
kidding.
got a short prince here, ladies.
I'm not kidding. That was
and he
real.
likes to draw, journal.
That was a real statistic.
Read books.
I swear to God.
Loves animals.
I swear.
What's your phone number? Imagine.
No, let me tell you something. Modern day women don't want to date me. They don't.
I don't.
They don't. I'll tell you why.
The sugar
But
daddy
that's the thing, because
stuff.
that's
and
what
I fell victim to that for a little bit.
That's what I'm not going to give them. So you look at what's out there nowadays. I can give someone the nice dinners almost every night a week.
Right.
I can give someone the vacations. I can give someone the nice gifts, but I'm not going to give them that. I'm not saying ever, but you're not getting that from me. Take a walk with me down by the beach. Watch the sunset. I'll give you that. Dance in the kitchen with me while we make s'mores at 3 a.m. I'll give you that.
Aww.
Sit with me on the park bench and share a coffee with me. I'll give you that. Trip me as I'm walking down the stairs and make fun of me. I'll give you that. Wrestle with me. I'll give you that. I'm not giving you them nowadays this transactional relationship where I have to now buy your love and take you here and do this for you only for me to be deemed worthy of your love in return. Get out of here.
It becomes conditional,
Yeah.
you know, and then when things get hard and when real life problems come to the forefront, people don't know how to face it because all they know how to do is take, and it's all materialistic and transactional. When do you even really feel for this person or do you feel for their money?
100%. Like 100%. And I see way too many couples, and again, maybe it's just based off where we're at. We're in New York, and we're on Long Island, New York. Like, there's a mentality here, okay?
Just in Manhattan.
And you see what I'm saying? Like, it's very transactional here. Out here, everyone is in that keeping up with the Joneses or Jeffersons. I don't know what the whole statement is, but it's keeping up with your neighbor, trying to live up to that image, and it's terrible. And I think that has now manifested in relationships where there's no intimacy.
Ooh,
so
intimacy's big.
So like for me, intimacy is the biggest thing that I could ever want in a partner.
Can I say something? I'm sorry to cut you off.
Hell yeah.
There are so many couples who I see who are 4 or 5 years in and whatever the case may be, even 2 years in, and they like barely even kiss or touch or mess around. And
is that what you consider intimacy though?
Intimacy to me is not just sex. Intimacy is laughing, is touching, is flirting. Like these are all things to me that are intimate. So to not even see couples engage in that in, 2, 3, 4 years and kind of lose what an actual relationship should be, I just feel is awful.
And I agree with you that intimacy is all of those things. But like for me, I think intimacy has a much deeper sub-level to it.
Deep conversations.
Forget that. It's literally where intimacy is where you can see into me. So it's almost like I'm giving you my naked soul. I'm stripping myself naked of all of my fears, all of the things that make me happy, my flaws. I'm letting you see the dark in me. You're giving me a home to rest my monsters in. That's intimacy. You see me for everything of who and what I am to my core. When you accept me for what I am and the things that you don't like, because it's super easy to accept what you like about me. It's easy to accept the job, the looks, the this, the that, the way that we have sex. If you can get through all of the things that you like and accept what you don't like, that's the real intimacy. That's what intimacy really is. It's seeing you for who you are, what you are, and why you are the way you are, and loving that version of you unconditionally. And because, again, going back to the accessibility of everything, that has gone away.
Well, that would be emotional intimacy, and I think what I was talking on is physical intimacy. I think you have to have both, which is super important. Which you'll get the physical with that emotional intimacy that you were just talking about.
100%, but that's the thing. So like the emotional intimacy goes away, then the physical goes away.
I have something to bring up because this is actually super important as well. Men's needs.
Oh God. Is this a question or are you bringing up? Because if you speak on men's needs.
No, I'm not just like letting you run freely with that. I have something to probe you with. Do you feel like women should understand that? Let me actually rephrase this. What do you think is the biggest need of a man in a relationship?
Oh my God.
Number one. Just say the number one.
That is the best question I think that I've ever been asked in my life, period, by anybody. Give me a pound. I think that a man's biggest need from a woman is to just be recognized for what he goes through.
Okay, what about the second?
And I think it's to be seen, and I think it's a lot of men don't speak about what they feel, especially if they're going through problems. And I think just having a woman say, like, hey, like, I know you're struggling and I got you, that is what men need more than anything. That's
okay,
not what
so
you were expecting.
I'm saying, so if you're being seen by your girl, but she's not wanting to have sex with you at all, you're still going to say that men's number one need is to be seen? Because I don't agree with that.
I don't think a man's number one need is sex.
I don't think it's sex constantly, but I think that physical needs to be there.
I think a physical relationship between the two is beyond important. But when you speak to what men truly want from their wife, and you got to remember, like, I'm in there now, and I know you are as well, but I speak to a lot of men in their 30s, 40s, and 50s.
So do I.
I know you do. The first thing they say is not, I'm not getting sex.
See, I'm getting different.
Okay, so the ones that I'm dealing, it's never the first thing. That usually comes up like the third time. The first thing they say is, she's just under my skin and she doesn't let me breathe. There's always a disconnect emotionally there.
I'm going to say something which is crazy, because it's always we are not intimate at all and we don't have sex, along with the emotional disconnect.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say, biologically, within men, you guys do need physical. And there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong. Don't get me wrong. Men need it.
This is important for women, though, to understand. Men are more driven sexually, and that's a need that they have to have met, whereas women are more emotionally in tune and need a man to tap into that. Women will feel more inclined to be sexually driven if the man is on the same emotional wavelength as them. If he is, really tapping into her concerns, if he's there for her emotionally. So that's when I see that there's a healthy relationship. When there's a healthy communication dynamic and the woman feels like she's getting that emotional support and the man feels like he's getting that physical, not only is the woman wanting to be physical with the man, but they're both like still very infatuated and it's there on both levels.
I agree with that also, but I also see a lot of women that use sex as a weapon and take it away from men. And I see that all the time. And the problem is like, for every woman who's going to be listening to this, that is the worst thing that you can possibly do. Because one, it's vicious and it's evil, and you're depriving your own sanctity of your relationship and something that's super important for it to thrive, out of spite, to intentionally hurt the man. Like, I've been in relationships where I've done nothing wrong and I've been with a narcissist, and she would it was the love bombing, and then as soon as the love bomb went away and she got cold, she would just take away all of the physical intimacy that would happen. So, like, it would make me then, one, question myself, and two, after a while, like, you get angry. And a lot of men will then, and I'm sorry,
cheat. That's what I was thinking in my head.
A lot of men and like women will then, and I'm sorry, play the victim card. My man cheated on me. Okay, well, when's the last time that you had sex with him? 3 years. Why? Well, he just annoyed me after a while. Did you two ever try and work on it? Sometimes I've heard, yeah, but I just don't want to with him. Okay, so you don't want to work on your marriage, and instead you want to take away something that will benefit the marriage in any capacity to intentionally destroy this man. And then you wonder why the man is out. And again, I do not condone cheating. Disclaimer, don't condone it. But you wonder why that man is out doing what he's doing.
Hot take. If you don't want to have sex with your partner anymore and you're feeling like it's more of a chore than a desire, then you should break up.
I agree with that.
There's no coming back from that.
But what about if you're married?
I have seen in many different therapies, people, and please take my word on this and through experience, if you get to a point where you sexually do not want to engage with your partner,
Can't turn it back on.
there's nothing that's going to turn it back on.
So do you agree with divorce?
It's not there. I do agree with divorce. And sometimes I think that you want to know what? We grow as people and we meet people at certain stages of our life, and we give our lives to another, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But you should not stay in a situation where you're clearly unhappy just because you have a ring on your finger and you have kids. There's ways to go about it, and there's many couples that I've coached through it, and there's people that I've seen go through divorces properly and improperly.
Do you think that divorce is now just a flip of a dime when people get pissed off at it? Because I don't think
many people. I think the divorce rate is so high because, like we're saying, people jump into relationships out of lust. They don't sit and think about their morals, their ethics, their compatibility, and people will just smooth sail and go into a marriage and get married, not realizing the severity of what marriage really means and like how deep it really is and what you're getting yourself into by marrying someone. And listen, I think that there's hardships. I think that there's ups and downs. I think that not all the time you're going to have, want to have sex with your partner. You're going to be tired. There's going to be times where you're both working and, it's chaotic. You have kids. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about if you genuinely look at your partner and you're disgusted and you want nothing to do with them and you're just having sex to get it over with and it's a chore to you, and no matter what they do, they're irritating you, you should not be with that person. I don't care how long you've been together. I don't care, if you're married or if you're dating. I said so to my client the other day. I said, it's not
Can I just say how much I agree with you?
It's not about the quantity of the relationship. It is not about how long you've dated someone. It's about the quality. So don't tell me that you've been together with someone for 15 years. Don't tell me you've been married to someone for 15 years. Not being happy is not being happy, whether it's a year or 15. That's not an excuse to stay. I'm sorry.
I don't know why you're apologizing.
I see it too much.
No, because, again, I agree with all of that entirely. And I see a lot of people. Have you noticed in relationships where one party will cheat and then the other party will forgive, quote unquote, and then try and make it work, but the whole time that other individual is just completely resentful and hates the partner and for some reason can't move on?
And also the partner cheated for unmet needs, so they shouldn't be together from the jump.
So that's my question. Like, what would you offer that couple then? Because I'm sure there's going to be a couple out there because they're everywhere that's going through that. What advice can you offer then a couple like that? Something happened, they're trying to work on it, but that one party that has now offered the chance to work on it is reluctant to actually put the best foot forward and work on it.
I've had this. So this is my biggest advice to people. People make mistakes, and that's understandable. So I don't think that every cheating scandal or situation needs to be completely dismissed and you have to never talk to the person again. I do believe that sometimes people, unfortunately, do just fall into their desires or, whatever the case may be. My advice to someone, I'm saying a night out, I'm saying it does happen sometimes. I'm saying if people want to forgive
You're saying a night out?
No.
Hold on. No.
No. You're taking this wrong. I'm saying if the couple feels, if the guy or girl has said this and the other person wants to now move forward and the person was like, it was a night out or whatever the case may be, and they're deciding now to reconcile the situation and now move forward. This is the thing. If you know that you can't forget this, and if you have to understand the second that you forgive and you continue being with your partner after you knew that they cheated on you or did something that violated you, you can no longer bring up that situation, because by forgiving and by saying, this is okay, I forgive you, I want to move forward, you are now saying, I'm going to drop this situation and I'm going to put my best foot forward with this. If you know deep down in your heart that you can't do that, the answer is not to forgive and forget. The answer is to move on.
I was going to say something about last episode about forgiveness is always the way.
I'm not saying I listen, it's very hard to, we just need to learn to not think with our emotions. There are a lot of times where our emotions can get the best of us and we want to say and do things and, be angry or upset or forgive because there's so much love there at the end of the day. But I will say this again. It is not about quantity. It is about quality. If this person is continuously disrespecting you, if they're doing things that go against your morals, your values, and you're accepting it, you're just diminishing your own self-worth.
Do you think that a relationship is of actual quality then if somebody does go out and cheat?
I think that betrayal is a very serious thing.
As do I.
I think that you entrust yourself in someone and you give them all of your vulnerabilities and your flaws and you allow for them to see you for who you really are, and to think that they would give themselves to someone else, you know, for a night. I personally am not for that. That's something that I do think is, I would never talk to someone
if you were
again
married,
if they cheated on me.
Right. So if you were married, hypothetically, 5 years, had a kid, husband went out, cheated one night, stay or no?
No.
Rip right there.
Not rip right there because, okay, this is the thing with cheating. Cheating doesn't just happen. There has to be some subtle situations that are occurring underneath that happen time and time again for someone to feel the need that they want to emotionally or physically step out of their relationship.
Would that stem back to the relationship, though?
Yeah, some unmet need.
Oh, look at us.
Some unmet need or their own, you know, inability to be able to sit in one relationship or boredom is the reasoning behind why they cheat. So I think that if this is a person who, one, is dealing with their own traumas or situation and they feel like the grass is greener on the other side and they have to cheat, they're going to do it again. You have to go. Then if we do the other token of it, if you know, your needs are emotionally unmet, then that could have been a conversation, or we could have figured something out, or you could have even said, I'm very big on being like, hey, you want to know what? I'm like really not feeling this. And honestly, like I have this urge, or be open and honest with your partner. We're all not perfect. And if you feel like you're at the point of like almost cheating, why not bring it up?
I have a question, completely off topic.
Yes.
And I don't know how my brain just remembered this. If, and I agree with you, by the way, if people are dating, let's say they've been talking for a couple weeks and they finally have sex.
Okay.
They finally have sex.
Right.
Let's say that one party doesn't feel anything after they have sex. They wanted to feel all these emotions and like the connection was there mentally, emotionally, but as soon as the physical act took place, there was no chemistry, no spark, no nothing. And then that person completely ends it. How do you guide, or what advice can you offer people who go through that? Because I've noticed just a couple times. One, I've been through that. Okay.
Where you've had, so you've known this person for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
You guys finally have sex for the first time.
Yeah.
It then ends up not really being what you thought.
I'm big. So just for me personally, sex is very important. Like sex is very important. And because it's so seldom in my life now after what I used to be like, the act of engaging with sex, if I'm going to really settle down with somebody, it needs to be done on like a spiritual tantric type level. If it doesn't resonate with me, okay, and there's no spark, there's no chemistry, and it's kind of just like monotonously going through the motions, I can't continue to engage with that person.
It's fine.
Right. What can you say to the person having it that's getting that it's ending with? So like I will, from my own personal experience, I've been called a user and all these other things, but my intentions were pure, like the desire to actually engage and get to know somebody and really see where something goes was there, but then it's not there. And I can't force something to be there. And there's so many people out there that this happens to. They wind up finally being intimate with somebody, and then it's
not there.
It's just no.
But there's nothing wrong with it not being there.
It ends, and then you're called every name under the sun. So, like, what advice can you give to the person that it just got ended with? What advice can you offer them to flip their perspective of the situation into understanding where the person ending it is coming from without victimizing themselves?
Well, I think at the end of the day, you have to understand that, sexual compatibility, emotional, whatever it is, it's real. And if you both are not sexually engaged in a way where you're enjoying it, then unfortunately, if that party discontinues talking to you, okay, wait, hold on. We need to, are you stating before you have sex with a person, are you saying like, hey, listen, so this is how I would envision this situation.
Oh boy.
You're feeling like it's a very intimate and it's something where it's deep for you and it's meaningful, right? So are you expressing that to the person before sex? Are you saying, listen, sex is very meaningful to me. I need to have this connection. It's very important for me. I say
it in my way.
Okay, that's fine.
But also I just want to get this out there. It's not like this is happening.
No, I know.
I just want to say that this is not a situation that's occurring on like a weekly basis. Okay.
Or is it?
Okay. I just wanted. Yes, I do have that conversation.
Okay, so this is
I've had that conversation.
If you're on the other end, you have to understand that not everything is personal and you can't personalize everything. People are not going to be compatible with you, and sometimes things just aren't going to work. So whether you give yourself up or you don't, it was you both consented to it, and you knew at the end of the day you are not dating. So you kind of have to understand that that doesn't necessarily mean the one time you had sex that your situation's going to continue. If sexually it does not work, or maybe if the person did use you and now that's someone that you don't even want to engage with, because if they're going to just then use you for sex for the one time, then I wouldn't even let it faze you, because that's just a person that you don't even want to be around. However, if it's someone who, like you said, just needs a strong sexual connection and it's not there, you as that person have to have that conversation. I think is more than appropriate. If they're not receptive to it, and if you don't understand that person's point of view, then you could agree to disagree. There's not much to do there, because it's just a point of view, and not everyone has to agree with how you feel about sexual intimacy. To them, if it looks like you use them, let them think it looks like you use them. If you did the appropriate steps to let someone know, I don't think there's anything wrong then with, stating it's not going to work out. I just didn't feel it.
Another question. What do you say to people who are, when they begin speaking with one another, where each conversation is constantly a trauma bond as to how terrible their last relationship was?
Is it just about
It's just about everything they've been through, how terrible their ex was, how abusive he or she was, the damage that was inflicted on them.
I think it's very important to be present and not inflict, past pain onto a person who you're currently seeing. There's no reason that you should really even be talking about your ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend with a person that you just met, unless you two are both serious and you're just, curiously exploring your past. I don't think that should be a topic of conversation the first couple dates. And if it is a topic of conversation, I would brush lightly on it. And if you find you can't brush lightly on it and it's something you're really hounding on, then you need to really go do the work and kind of be alone for a little bit, because you should be getting to know the other person and their interests and what they enjoy and what they like, not sitting there talking about your toxic relationship and ex of a year ago and how you're damaged. You should not be then looking for anything.
I love that. Also, stop asking them how many people they've slept with. Stop doing that, okay? Stop it. It's stupid, it's ignorant, it's immature, it's childish, and it's insecure.
And why do you
Stop
want to
it.
know
Why do you want to know?
that?
Because now, the whole time, you're going to be thinking about the number, and no one tells the true number, by the way. Nobody tells.
One's like,
no one is, let me tell
yeah,
you.
it's like 100 people.
No one will ever tell you the true number.
5?
And then when they give you a number, you're like, yeah, are you sure? No, stop asking them how many people they've had sex with. It's annoying, okay? And nobody should answer that question. Nobody. And you want to know what else bothers me? I'm going to tell you what else bothers me. Sorry. Rant. Hot take. You, for example, you're the homie. Like, I love you. If I started to date somebody, and by the way, PSA, nothing has ever happened here, but let's say they're like, oh, you're on the podcast with Madison. Have you two ever done anything? No, but also not your business if I have.
Yeah.
That's another thing that bothers me because I have a female, my friend Rachel.
Yeah.
I have female best friends, closer than my guy friends are. I'm not getting rid of these people just because you two share the same sex appendage. No, absolutely not. So the fact that, and it's mostly women, the fact that women always find a need to be like, oh, you're friends with her? Have you slept with her? Not your business, not your place. You don't deserve to know. I'm not answering that question. So you can live with that of the whole unknown and now completely mystery. It's just not going to happen. I will never answer that question.
Yeah.
I digress.
Yeah. No, for sure. I think that there's a lot that people, kind of want to know and be nosy
But
with.
why?
And people intentionally ask knowing that they're going to get mad, and in their head they're really pissed off, but they're trying not to. And you're like, wait, I'm just a chill girl. I think we could end for today after that.
Just chill, girl. Okay, I have one question. What is the one thing that you require from a partner? The one thing.
Are we ending with this?
Yeah. What's the one thing that you need from your partner? Could be anything.
The one thing that I need from my partner, I feel like, is the ability to be vulnerable and the ability to hear me and just be patient and understanding. I really enjoy intellectual conversations.
I was going to ask, what does that look like for you to be vulnerable?
I was actually just vulnerable a couple of days ago. I had to have a conversation that I've never had before about, things that you and I have discussed. And yeah. And I wasn't sure how it was going to be taken. And
Can I take a guess? It was taken perfectly fine.
Oh my God. Right? The best response I've ever had. And I've always been so scared to knock down that wall, and finally being able to after 27 years.
You just gave me the chills. You just gave me the chills for you. I'm so happy for you.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for you.
And I think that, just allowing for me to be me. And I am a very deep person, and I can cry sometimes, and I can get in my head.
You can also get very manic, like a rodent.
And I get very manic, and I'm just all over the place. But I'm a chill girl, and I'm funny. And if you rock with me, I'm all for it. So I don't like to be controlled. I'm a very independent person. So I just need someone who can be patient and understanding and vulnerable with me, but also allow for me to be that and allow for me to blossom while they could also as well.
I'm so happy for you.
Oh
my God.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What about
I told
you?
you nobody cares.
I know.
Nobody cares.
What about you now?
I'm just a chill guy.
Yeah.
I think it would definitely tie into the whole intimacy factor. I think I would want somebody to accept and understand all parts of me that I find to be good, and also the parts that I find to be bad. And I think having that intimacy factor of letting them see me for everything that I'm about and just completely accepting me for who and what I am wholeheartedly. All the annoying parts, all of the cold parts, all of the warm parts, that to me would be everything. And also, I'm big on the person who I ever wind up with has to touch me 24/7.
Yeah.
I need you, and when I say you, not you, but I need somebody to jump on my back and be a backpack 24/7.
A Polly Pocket.
I need a Polly Pocket. Put me in your pocket. I'm short enough. Put me in the pocket.
I love being a Polly Pocket.
I want to be wrapped up.
Yeah.
24/7. I don't care if we're sitting in the car. Let me hold your hand. If we're sitting on the couch, rub the back of my head. Just make me feel physical touch. I will put you on a pedestal. That is the biggest thing for me.
And I think I'm going to leave off with girls, tap into your feminine. Like men love to be touched, to just even when you're in the car, like touching the back of his head.
Also, wait, one more thing, please. Can we end it on this?
Yeah.
Compliment your man. Call him handsome. Do you know, do me a favor. Next time you just see any guy that you're friends with, be like, yo, you look handsome. Watch him light up. That dude, you will change his whole day. Compliment your man, please.
Don't be an alpha.
No, we don't want.
And I think we're going to be back for another relationship episode because we didn't even touch like a lot.
Okay.
You're done?
Done.